We're at a point where, because we've had so many people buy our new launch products, 1 in 4 of our sales in the month of December was a launch product. It was one of those 6. That's big news. We need to get out and find those people so that they can tell their stories, which was, hey, I drove, 5 Toyota RAV4s in a row, and I finally went, took a test drive of a Chevy Equinox, and oh, by the way, you guys win hands down because, you get 5 miles per gallon better than my RAV4 with 32 miles per gallon on the highway. Your warranty's better, and oh, by the way, a RAV4 doesn't have a 1-star. So we're now out interviewing customers who have left the competitors and bought one of our products to find out why they bought it and how good they feel about it. And you guys got any other ideas for me on where I go next on May the Best Car Win? Please.
Camaro Mustang.
Oh, you like that one?
I was having a different question.
That's what you got to do.
That's a hotly contested race, isn't it?
No.
No, you think we're
No, I've driven the Camaros. It's not hotly contested anymore.
Well, we only had 9 months in the market. I'll come to you. Don't forget. We only had 9 months in the marketplace. And Katie, I think you told me that 7. Excuse me.
We beat them 7.
We beat them 7 months in a row, even though we were only available 9 months out of the last 12. And Ford Mustang, at the end, they did beat us in volume, but we're coming back in 2010 with a vengeance. We think we've got a pretty hot product.
Yeah.
Please?
Thank you. Michael Sheena from All Cars All the Time in Alexandra.
Michael?
One of the things that when I was speaking with Bill Ford, he mentioned he comes out to California a lot on the eBay board, and he gets upset because he's driving down the road, he doesn't see many Fords. And California's been a tough market for the domestics. You and I kind of touched on that briefly at the Regal review. Mentioned that as well. What do you see going forward out in California to make that statement?
Great question. First of all, one of the first things that we had to do was reduce our over-reliance on full-size pickups and utilities. And we rode that horse as a strength for far too long. When I got out to California in February of '06, I had some dealers with 95% of their inventories as a full-size pickup or full-size utility. I mean, we weren't even in the car business, you guys. And whatever cars we had, our dealers kind of thought, well, we can't win with those, so we'll just continue to ride our horses, which are full-size pickups and utilities. So now with products like Camaro and products like Equinox and LaCrosse and that smoking hot Cadillac SRX, those are the kinds of products that can, win in California. So we're paying lots of attention. You have to overinvest in advertising so that consumers know what this stuff is all about. We haven't had the kind of product portfolio where we could win in California in well over a decade, and we now do. So we got to put some incremental resources. I can't fix it overnight. I don't think there's anybody around this table that can fix it overnight. And the approach can't be like injecting antibiotics to kill the virus real quick. You got to take the vitamin every single day and talk to Californians in a way that makes sense to them so that we can get back on the radar screen. It's tough sledding, but I think we can make some inroads.
Strictly lifestyle.
I promise I'll come right
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What do you drive?
Say a CTSV.
Anybody have any guesses?
Not a CTSV.
Well, don't you get cars periodically, or
So you choose what you want. So
I do have
an Enclave?
I do have a choice.
Regal, GSR, or GS.
I drive something different every time,
Right.
and I try and spend half the month driving the competitors' products. Because I think I learn more about what I need to do on marketing if I'm driving
Right.
the other people's products other than ours. Right now, I'm in a Buick Enclave. I'm getting out of that at the end of this week, and I'm going to go into a GMC Terrain. But the last competitive product that I spent a couple weeks in was an Acura TSX, so that I could understand why those buyers were buying that product, because the new 2011 Buick Regal is going to compete with a TSX, so I wanted to have a real good feel for that product.
To that end, related question that's coming in for you over Twitter.
Yes.
What is your favorite non-GM car, and what can GM learn from it? You're kind of already on that.
That is great. That is a great question. Every single time I travel for business and rent a car, I never rent ours. And the last trip I took was to California to drive up to Santa Barbara to go see the guys and gals at Automotive Lease Guide. So I flew into LA, rented a car, and drove up to Santa Barbara, up the coast, in a Toyota Prius.
Ugh.
And I was,
Sorry.
I was impressed with how quiet the car was. I was very unimpressed with how sparse the interior was. And I found the car, it was a cloth interior, it was a light interior to be, obviously, and it's not like it had a ton of miles on it, it had maybe 8,000 miles on it. It was filthy. And when I think about some of the things that we're going to do in the Volt, it's not sparse on the inside. Hopefully you guys have a chance to go and take a look at that at the Chevy stand, but it's not sparse by any means on the inside. It feels very technologically advanced. That front dash almost feels like it's its own Apple computer, in terms of the style and the touch and the ergonomics. It's very Apple-esque. So for all of this time that I had this vision about what Prius was about, I was underwhelmed.
Speaking of renting vehicles, now that Pontiac has been canceled, they were doing a lot of fleet. And GM has been working over the last few years now to reduce their fleet daily rentals and that sort of thing. How much of a flare going forward? The Impala is a big fleet vehicle. How much going forward does GM envision its sales being fleet?
Great question. In the past, from a fleet standpoint, our fleet penetration has been anywhere from 30 to 40%, depending on what we're doing, and those are the kinds of things you do when you've got more capacity than what you need. One of the things that we're doing in the new GM is to very strategically manage fleet. And not only does the fleet business need to be profitable, but we believe it needs to be managed somewhere between 23 to 25% of our total sales. That's very different from where we've been in the past, but we also need to make sure we have an appropriate mix in there and utilize fleet to give customers a chance to drive the new SRX or drive the new Camaro or drive the new LaCrosse, not just putting stripper vehicles in there. Put highly contented vehicles in there so that customers have a chance to get to experience our new technology, our backup cameras, or side blind zone alert warning systems, or our navigation systems. So we're changing up the mix of what's in there, how the product's equipped, and it makes such a difference to have gorgeous looking, sexy wheels on a car versus stripper wheels. I mean, you guys know, and that's especially on the coast. Whether on the East Coast or the West Coast, people pay a lot of attention to wheels. And, the comments that I've made to everybody is, let's make them look good. Let's make them look very desirable. That's going to help us with our brand health.
All right.
I have two questions.
The whole back-to-back thing has been going, so Susan only has time for one more question.
You're kicking me out. Who's coming after me?
No, actually, it's
Oh,
yours.
you gotta go. Oh, okay. It's because I gotta go. All right.
You're kicking them out.
Oh, okay.
Well, all right, I'll go with
We have
one question
more,
then.
guys, sorry.
What you got?
I recently had the SRX and for a week, and I drove it through some snowstorms. And I liked it. It was a great vehicle. My honest opinion is the base engine, the vehicle's very heavy, or it is rather heavy, and the base engine gets great gas mileage, but it's not very good performance. The other engine is going to be great performance. It's what it needs, but it doesn't
When
get
you
really
say the other engine, which one are you
2.8,
referring to? Okay.
but it doesn't get stellar gas mileage. So the engine it needs to perform doesn't get great gas mileage. So how do you fix that? And it has to be more of a weight thing. How do you lower the weight in like next generation or a model refresh or something like that? Because I know it already uses advanced, high strength steel and everything.
Right. We got some work to do. You want to come help us?
Maybe we can talk.
All right.
We'll talk later.
No, but in fairness, I know it sounds like a cute answer, but to your point, we just started building the turbo version
Yep.
in December, so it's not even out in the marketplace yet for consumers to go and take a look at it. For those people who do want a little bit more power and a little bit better handling with that turbo engine, but it's work in process. But I will tell you that the vehicle is doing very well in the marketplace. And 50% of the people who buy a brand new Cadillac SRX have previously gone out and test-driven a Lexus RX.
They should, because then they're going to get a better vehicle.
Well, that's very cool. I mean, I can't tell you that happened with SRX's predecessor.
Wow.
Just did.
Right.
So, we're making progress, one vehicle, one customer at a time.